felony offender. Offense habitual offender law, manslaughter. Sentencing date, April 20th, 2001. Sentenced to a total of 40 years. Parole date is December 17, 2021. Good time, March 16, 2040. And full term, July 14, 2040. Is this information correct, sir?
Is it correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Roche.
Thank you, Ms. Teresa. Good morning, Mr. Rousell. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, sir.
Good. Mr. Rousell, you're currently 44 years old. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you've served approximately 21 and a half years of a 40-year sentence.
Yes, sir.
And this was the second felony that you were convicted of. What was the first felony?
It was a drug conviction, sir.
And you were on supervision at the time you committed this murder. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And you were revoked because of this. Exactly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I see where you have only 120 days good time for a pre-release class, and you've been incarcerated for 21 years. Tell me the other programs that you've completed that I don't have the information on.
I completed anger management. I just was able to get good time for the classes when they changed the new laws. So
Okay.
That's why it's so, the number is 120 days. But I completed anger management, I completed living in balance. I completed substance abuse classes. I just did whatever I feel it took for me to, move my life in the right path. I took numerous classes.
Okay, that morning that you shot, I think his name was Wilson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Was drugs involved?
No, sir.
And you were fighting over a gun with a gentleman by the name of Will. Is that correct?
Yeah, Willie Kelly. Yes, sir.
And you gained control of the gun, but why did you shoot Mr. Wilson?
I asked the first shot was in the air, sir. The second shot, when they imposed on me, they was coming down on me, that's when the other shot was fired. And the one that killed Mr. Wilson.
But the police report said you shot without provocation.
If you look closely into the records, it's going to say I shot a warning shot in the air. You know what I'm saying? First, then I shot the shot that failed to kill Mr. Wilson.
Okay. What is your job at the facility?
Right now, I currently don't have a job at the facility, but I was a dorm orderly and I was in school. I finished school in the process.
You got your GED?
Yes, sir.
When did you get your
Yes,
GED?
sir. Maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Okay, outstanding. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you a trustee?
No, sir. I ain't qualified to be trustee because of the time I had. So they'll recommend me for it.
Okay. Were you employed at the time of your incarceration?
Yes, sir. Yes,
What
sir.
were you doing? What were you doing?
Shipping work at Perdido's Price on the West Bank.
Okay. Do you have any vocational skills?
No, sir. I got culinary skills. That's it. I don't have no other trade.
Okay. So tell me about your transition plan. Where do you plan to work? What do you plan to live?
Well, I'm going to live with my mother when I get out. But for my work options, my brother have a catering service. I'm going to try to cook for him, and my uncle's a farmer at Sewage and Water Board. So he's gonna bring me in for an interview and hopefully hire me on one of the crews at Sewage and Water Board.
Okay, outstanding. So let's talk about drugs.
Yes, sir.
What was your drug of choice?
Well, when I was out there, sir, I did marijuana. That was the only, I was really scared of drugs, but I did marijuana when I was out there before I got put on supervisor, before I got put on probation.
I'm going to inform you that there's a lot of opposition from law enforcement and a lot of opposition from the victim's family. And they will have a chance to express that opposition this morning. Now, I'm going to tell you, Mr. Rousell.
You're breaking up.
Beg your pardon?
I said you're breaking up. I couldn't really hear what you said.
Okay, Mr. Rousell, I'm going to tell you, I'm very concerned about your disciplinary history. We had 3 Class B write-ups in 2019. And it's not just Class B write-ups, it's a 21C and a 21G, which are very serious disciplinary issues.
Yes, sir.
One day, can you give me some details about the 21C and the 21G?
Would you mean to read the write-up in its entirety, or how do you want that?
Just paraphrase it for me, Warden.
Okay. Offender Rousell and another offender were kissing each other in an overt, passionate sexual.
Okay. I get the gist. Is that the 21C?
That was the G.
Okay, what was the 21C?
Offender Rousell was in an unauthorized area behind Range 3, approached the corner of a building. Let's see. On camera, it revealed that Offender Combs walks up to Rousell, who was leaning against the outside table, placed his hand in the offender's pants.
Thank you, Warden.
Yes, sir.
And what was the other disciplinary write-up in 2019? Let me see if I can get it.
It's only 2 I have in here for 19.
Okay.
I have 18.
1 second.
It was a Rule 24.
24. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wise.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's all
it
the
was
same
attached to the-
incident.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
same incident.
Okay. Now, Mr. Rousell.
Unauthorized.
Okay. Mr. Rousell, you have been incarcerated almost 20 years. And
Yes, sir.
you had some very serious disciplinary problems. And that shows a lack of rehabilitation. And I have very serious concerns about your conduct. 1 second, let me get back to my notes. Now, one day, would you like to make any additional remarks, comments, or observations?
His last write-up was in 2019, but he and I discussed those write-ups earlier in the week when we met. And we discussed the severity of them and how sometimes that things you do in the past come back and haunt you. And I believe going forward, hopefully we can work on that conduct and hopefully also get him a job if he isn't granted parole.
And that concerns me because he doesn't have a job, and look like he would have made a request to the officials at the facility to place him somewhere. Mr. Chairman, that completes my interview.
Okay, thank you very much. I see we have some victims going to speak up there, Angela and Annie. Now, whatever you say, be sure you say it directly to the board. And we have 3 victims going to speak, and you'll have about 10 minutes, so use your time accordingly. At this time, unmute your mic. Angela, go ahead and speak first.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak this morning. I come to you right now with a very heavy heart. The impact that this has had on my family is just undescribable. He affected so many different entities in this family. I watched my son, who was there at the time when this happened, who was standing right next to my brother-in-law, who went from a jovial, just real pleasant child to being always angry. Always being angry. My nephews, they've had children. They don't have their grandfather, you know. So I don't feel like he should be able to come out and live a life and possibly make children or be able to spend time with his grandchildren. So at this time, I'm gonna pass the mic to my mom and let her speak.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good morning. I do appreciate the opportunity to address you at this time. My heart is so heavy. Even now, I feel the pain. I was so devastated when my son-in-law was murdered that it was all I could do. I had to pray to ask God to give me another breath. This young man was such a positive force in the family, within the family. He has 3 sister-in-laws that are still grieving him 20 years later. His grandchildren, every time I look at them, they've never met him, they never will meet him. Their lives would be so different. My grandchildren, his children, they loved him. The boys who are now 28 years old, they can't really remember his voice or anything. He taught them things. He taught them how to ride a bike, how to go hunting, how to do things. And that their mother, she's been affected, and she's a different person. She's angry all the time, and I think she feels guilty. But it's just so much. He has affected a couple of generations. I mean, like I said, my heart is so heavy. This was my son-in-law, but he was my son. He was just an awesome individual. He loved his community. He loved his sisters and brothers. He loved his family. And we miss him terribly. And like my daughter said, I understand this man has served some time, but I just don't feel like it is just and right for him to be able to come out and start a whole new life when my son-in-law has a death sentence that cannot be regenerated. And my son-in-law has now 12 grandchildren, and all of them need him so desperately, but they will never get an opportunity to know him. His sisters, his nieces, his nephews, I'm telling you, he affected the lives of so many people. On the day that this happened, I was in Florida, and it was, like I said, it was all I could do to breathe when I got the word. And when I came back, all I could do was pray for Joseph Rousell, that he would turn himself in, because there was at least 100 people looking for him. And I prayed, God, please allow them to find him before they do, because I don't want blood on anybody else's head, because they were looking for him to kill him. And there are still people out there right now who love Paul Wilson and who would be looking to harm him. He's safer where he is, for one thing, and I just don't feel like he deserves to come out here and enjoy his life. And thank you once again for the opportunity this morning.
Okay. Thank you very much. If you would mute your mic. At this time, Miss Melinda Wilson, you can speak anything you say. Be sure and say it, point it to the board.
It's a lot. It's a lot that I have to say. I feel like at this point in time, he needs to be where he at. It hurts so bad to even understand how you can even act or have the authority to try and get out of jail. And my brother can't walk these streets no more. My brother can't spend time with nobody in his family. Nobody can't touch him, can't see him, can't do nothing. At least his family could go see him in jail. They get to spend time with him. All we get to spend time with is a picture or go sit at a gravesite. I don't.
Okay. Thank you very much for your comments. Okay, if you would mute your mic at this time, Mr. Joseph Rousell. Anything you'd like to say to the board before we vote?
Yeah, I just like to send I understand the grief that the family going through. Like I said, I apologize sincerely for me, no matter what the outcome of the board is. You know, I understand, you know, I was young, you know, I did some things, and I'm not proud about them. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this is an unfortunate event because it wasn't one victim. You see, it was victims. You see what I'm saying? The victim family, what they going through, the grief and what they lost, I totally understand. You know, my mother lost me to the system. You know, it was more than one victim. And like I said, I send my condolences to that family. I know they might not want to hear it because of what happened, but I'm sincerely sorry. And whatever, the board decides, I won't be angry with them for voicing their opinion about what they feel.
All right, thank you very much. At this time, Mr. Roche will be voting.
Thank you, Mr. Wise. Mr. Rousell.
Yes, sir.
Based on a general disciplinary conduct that's unacceptable after being incarcerated for almost 22 years, you had 3 disciplinary write-ups in 2019. You have law enforcement opposition. The victim's family is adamantly opposed to any early release for you. And I'd like to see you get additional programming. So based on those factors, I'm going to deny your request today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Rousell, I agree. The 2 write-ups in 2019 are concerning. The opposition that's been expressed here today, also, my vote today is to deny your parole.
Thank you.
Today, I'm going to be voting to deny your parole on the same conditions. Also, you have very strong law enforcement and victims' opposition to your release. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so this case is a little interesting because Richard provided me with 2 documents, one which details a sexual assault that he committed, and then the other is the one that he's in the books for, and it's not clear to me if, his previous charge, what he called robbery, if somehow he's pulling a quick one, or if it's just someone with the same exact name similar. The times match up, but it's not him. It's not clear to me. Well, first review the facts of this case. So, New Orleans police detective Carlos Blue testified that on June 13, 2000, he was at a residence of approximately 1 a.m. when he heard 3 shots fired outside, 1 gun in rapid succession. He looked out of the front window and saw a dark-colored Suburban driving. But it was actually a Firebird. With the driver door open and the lights on, he called 911 and he went to the scene no more than 5 or 6 houses away. How do you confuse a Firebird and a Suburban? I don't know, but I guess it happens. A young child said that his stepdaddy killed the victim. Imagine a young child having to say that. New Orleans Police Sheriff's Office responded to the shooting, which occurred. The engine of the victim's car was running and the car on the driver's side door was open. He said the children at the scene were crying and distraught, as was the victim's wife. The children, ages 6 to 10, said their mother's boyfriend had shot their father. How terrible. You know, you just don't do that. Your ego is so small and you have like zero self-control. So you're going to go out and kill them in front of kids and everything. It's like, you sicko. You just don't belong out in the public. That's just the way it works. New Orleans police homicide detective testified that the nephew of the defendant's girlfriend and the victim's ex-wife had been in front of the victim's car. The detective spoke to Miss Jordan. Vehicle registered to the victim. They're just going through some of the different technicalities. And I'll always drop the link in the description if you want to read it on your own. And the bullet entered behind the left earlobe and exited above the right eyebrow. So he shot from behind. The wound caused extensive damage to brain tissue and distortion of the head, meaning that the bones were fractured because of the physical damage. Sorry. The doctor opined that the weapon may have had a powerful round or a lot of gunpowder in those rounds. The victim's blood alcohol content was 0.02, what he described as a very small amount. Victim was just 26 years old. Warren Jordan, the victim's 18-year-old nephew, admitted to juvenile convictions for battery and burglary. Mr. Jordan stated that on the night of the murder, the victim drove his son, 7-year-old Joel Wilson, and the defendant and a man named Will were fighting over the gun the defendant subsequently used to shoot the victim. The defendant said the boyfriend at the time and lived in the residence with her. Mr. Jordan identified the murder weapon, which he said the defendant wrestled away from the man named Will. Mr. Jordan said that he and the victim exited the car, and Mr. Jordan asked the defendant what he was doing. Nothing, that there were children in the victim's car. Mr. Jordan said at the point, defendant walked forward, fired 2 shots in the victim's direction. So was this the victim's gun and it was wrestled away from him? And that's... The victim had said nothing to the defendant, and the defendant said nothing to the victim. Mr. Jordan said that there were some children by the Suburban, which was parked nearby. He asked whether the victim had a handgun. Mr. Jordan said he did not remember seeing one. Mr. Jordan said on cross-examination that he lived, blah, blah, blah. The relationship with the defendant, he helped out with money. Mr. Jordan said after the shooting, the defendant said apparently to the Downs victim, "I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, bro." After he shot him, he goes, "I'm sorry, bro." Mr. Jordan said he was not freaking out at the scene, that he was blank. Mr. Jordan replied in the negative When asked whether the victim had a gun that night, crime lab officer Kenneth Leary was qualified by stipulation as an expert in the field of firearms. He examined the murder weapon. It was a model Mac 90 0762. Yeah, it's a big round. That's like the Kalashnikov round. And found it to be functional. Officer Leary described the gun as a high-velocity firearm and indicated that at close quarters it could cause devastating injury to a person. Officer Leary shown the 7.62 cartridge recovered from the defendant's residence and said it was the same type of cartridge. It's funny, up until then I was thinking a handgun. Found in the magazine. It was seized by police. James, who was in the 6th grade and was present when his father was killed, he went outside and found his mother and the defendant arguing. The victim subsequently drove up with Joel Wilson, Warren Jordan. James said he was near the Suburban with his brother. They attempted to stop the defendant, but defendant shot several times. When asked if he had seen his father with a gun, James must replied in the negative. James confirmed on cross-examination that he told police that he first shot went into the ear and then he heard another shot. He indicated, but he responded that the first shot was fired before his father exited the car. He confirmed that he did not actually see his father get shot. Can you imagine you're 6 years old and you have to see this? It's just, I'm sorry, but with someone with a 6-year-old child, I just couldn't even go there. My mind, my imagination, the pain that this causes, the trauma that this causes, and over what? Over nothing. Over absolutely nothing. I don't know. I'm not going through this whole thing. Here's the other case I was talking about where it says on January 31st, 1985, the victim's 4th grade school teacher was awoken at 2 a.m. by a male weighing 175.9. He jumped into her bed, stuffed a rag in her mouth, and moved a knife towards her and pushed her into the. So this is like the violent assault, but I don't think it's the same crime. So Richard, if you're seeing this, if we can check back, maybe it was meant to go on a different one. It's row 1056, 2021 row 1056. Oh, we could do one more thing. Here's the rule book that they were looking at. So 21 is a sex offense, and then it goes down to different types where it's non-consensual, where it's abusive, so he had the C, which is offender on offender. Any of that stuff, right? Must have been a little embarrassing for him, huh? To have other people find out about that. Then they're going to start telling about it to everyone in the streets. I thought also one of the victims alluded that that there are people that are looking for him if he gets out. I thought that was kind of a silent threat. That was interesting too. I don't blame her for saying that. But hey, she has this ammunition. She's got these write-ups. That can't be fun for him to know about. But with that, I'll let you go.
Mr. Morris, you are a 4th felony offender. Your offenses are forcible rape, simple escape, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, manslaughter, arson with the intent to defraud, and a second count of simple escape. On the forcible rape, you was sentenced on September 22nd, 1988, and you were revoked on November 19th, 2001, and you were sentenced again on November 19th, 2001. And then for a docket number in Claiborne Parish, you were sentenced on November 20th, 2001. In Webster Parish again, he was sentenced on July 1st, 2002. Sentenced in, I think it's Caddo Parish, 20 years, Webster 5 years, Webster 10 years, Claiborne 20 years, Webster 2.5 years, and Webster again 3 years. Your total sentence 25 years, 6 months. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Your parole date is August 22nd, 2021. Your good time date, December 10th, 2021. Your full term date, December 6th, 2024. Is all that information correct?
Yes, sir.
Your case has been assigned to Mrs. Wise. Mrs. Wise.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Ms. Wise.
Yes,
Ms.
sir.
Wise,
Yes, sir.
before we start the interview, Ms. Teresa, would you please introduce the guests at the hearing?
We have Kaylin Mitchell, who is here in opposition, who would like to speak. And we have Donald Mitchell, who's also in opposition, who does not want to speak.
Thank you. Mrs. Wise.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman. Well, right off the top, sir, one good thing, Mr. Morris, regardless of what happens today, if you don't mess up, you'll be home by Christmas in 2021. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I mean, yes, ma'am.
Okay, that should give you some peace, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
You're about to walk this thing on down. You could get home a little earlier, but definitely by Christmas. I am really impressed with the programs that you took in 2020. You took Living in Balance. You completed that 12/1/2020. You did a helpers group 11/15 of 19. Cage Your Age. You completed 10/5/2020. And Thanking for a Change 9/7 of 2020. Now call out for the record how long you've been down on this 25-year sentence.
19 years.
19 years, okay. And you finally got into programs. What changed?
I just seen the light. I'm tired of being the person I used to be. I'm a different person now.
Good.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Now, this Parliamentary Procedure Club. Tell me a little bit about that. I'm just curious about that.
That's like being a peer counsel to help people that need help. They don't got some bad news, stuff like that. Help them get in a positive mind.
Oh, great. So you're helping others.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, that's what the helper group is, right? The Human Relations Club. I said the Parliamentary Procedure Club.
That's it. That's the class that they take in the helper group.
Oh, okay. Good. And it looks like you've had 13 write-ups in 19 years. And I think your last one is in 2012. So you definitely made a change there. I'm just putting some things in the record. Your work evaluation from your supervisor was all excellent. We don't see that very often. So I want to commend you on that. You settled down and they, on your work evaluation, on your institutional evaluation, they gave you a good on your institutional record. So you've turned the corner, as they say.
Yes,
now you had some health issues in 2012. How are you now?
I'm good.
Good.
I messed my knee up playing basketball.
Oh, that's what that was. Okay.
All right.
So if you were successful today, where would you live and how would you support yourself?
I live with my sister and I go get a job. And she'll help me until I get my job going.
What kind of job would you be looking for?
Working like in the oil field, driving trucks, stuff like that.
Truck driving or oil field.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All righty. I'm just wondering, you were out there doing a whole lot of stuff. What was going on? Was there drugs involved? Were you drug using? Alcohol?
I was drinking alcohol.
Were you under influence on every one of these crimes?
Yes, ma'am.
So what have you done for your alcoholism?
I went to alcohol anonymous
Okay.
class, just now.
Okay. Well, and I realized, being down for 19 years and, alcohol hadn't been around, but the free world is the free world. Free world. Have you given any thought to how you will stay clean and sober?
Yes, ma'am. Just stick around, don't do the stuff I used to do. Don't go back to the same environment that I was
Okay.
in.
Okay. All right. So that's a good plan. Yeah. Change people, places, and things is a common thing that's said. But it's work. It's really effective. I'm wondering, in terms of other kind of supports, your sister's gonna give you a place to stay and you're gonna get a job. How else? Did you get your high school diploma? That's what I was trying to get to. Did you get your high school diploma?
No, ma'am.
Go ahead.
That's something I need to work on.
Oh, okay. So what was going on in your life when you dropped out of school?
Being with the wrong crowd, had the wrong friends around me.
Okay, so what grade did you drop out in?
In the 12.
In the 12.
Yes, ma'am. I just had completed 11, going to the 12.
Okay. So alcohol and things like that was involved?
Yes, ma'am.
So in the crowd, would you consider yourself a leader or a follower?
That's a follower.
Okay. All righty. So you saying if you're successful today, you're gonna go live with your sister and you're gonna find a job.
Yes, ma'am.
Have anybody spoken with you about the sex offender registration and all those mandates?
Ma'am.
The sex offender registration, are you gonna be required to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
You got money in line for that?
Yes, ma'am. I got money.
You talk to your family about it?
Yes, they ready.
Sir?
Yes, ma'am. They ready.
Oh, they ready. Good. But where are they today?
I don't think they could half of them work.
Okay, I understand that. All right, that's all I had, Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Jones?
Mr. Morris, how are you this morning?
Good. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Have you ever had a mental evaluation?
No, sir.
Huh?
No, sir.
You have not? Okay. How about juvenile crimes? You did commit any juvenile crimes?
Well, I got burgled one time for juvenile crime.
And you were sentenced to what?
I did 2 days in juvenile. That was it. My mom came and got me.
Were you placed on probation?
No, sir.
Nope, no probation. Just spent 2 days and that was it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how old were you when you started these adult offenses? How old were you when you got started?
About 20, 21.
What you think contributed to that? Was it, you said you didn't do drugs? Is that what I understood?
No, sir, I didn't do drugs.
Never done drugs. No marijuana, no nothing?
Marijuana, yes, sir, marijuana.
What age did you start smoking marijuana?
17.
About 17.
Yes, sir.
So how often were you smoking marijuana?
Whenever I can get it.
Okay. So some of the theft charges and things, was that to support your habit?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever go to any substance abuse?
Well, on the substance abuse I took right here.
Okay. Do you think you're a drug addict?
No, sir, I know I'm not.
Okay. So you don't think you have a substance abuse problem?
No, sir. I just was being influenced with the wrong people to do things that I know I wouldn't do just by myself.
Yeah. How about you took the anger management, right?
Yes, sir.
Did it tell you a lot about yourself?
Yes, sir. It did.
Okay. Because you got some pretty violent crimes that you've committed over the years.
Yes, sir. Some I'm not proud of none of them.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Warden Goodwin, would you like to make any remarks at this time?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Rousell. I've known Eddie for a number of years since he's been here, when he was here the previous time. To answer Mr. Jones' question, he did have a mental health evaluation when he came to the reception center, and he was found to not have any major mental health issues. He has been followed by mental health. Mental health is available to him here at the institution, but he doesn't have any major mental health issues occurring to it, according to his latest evaluation. He has completed a lot of programming. Eddie's a very compliant individual. He works very hard. He takes care of flower beds, does an excellent job with our horticulture outside of our security office. He works around the security office on the south compound and keeps that yard very immaculate. He's been a model prisoner over the last 8 years. He hasn't had a write-up in 8 years. He's participated in programming. And he's very compliant with staff, and he's he's a very decent man, and I enjoy visiting with him on a very regular basis. I see him very often and talk to him, and he's always got a very pleasant attitude, and he's very he presents himself as a individual that's ready for the free world, and he's like Ms. Wise mentioned, he has a release date this year anyway, and his behavior, I certainly don't foresee him losing any good time. He's very much into the positive aspects of the institution. I don't see him doing anything that would jeopardize his release date. That's all I have, Mr. Rousell.
Thank you, Warden Goodwin. At this time, would Ms. Mitchell please unmute your mic?
Hey, y'all doing okay?
Ms. Mitchell, would you please give us your full name and your relationship to this offender?
My name is Kaylin Mitchell, and honestly, I don't know what relationship we got. You know, he was going my mama.
Are you the victim in this case?
Yes.
Okay, you're the victim in this case. Give us your statement.
Honestly, I really had said that I didn't have much to say. You know what I'm saying? My mama had got killed when I was 5. You know, and he got manslaughter. I really don't feel like it's fair, you know, that she can't come back and he get to walk free. But I mean.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you. I know it was difficult for you to attend the hearing. We appreciate your statement.
Thank you.
Okay. At this time, would the offender like to make a brief closing statement?
That's you, Eddie.
Oh, yes, sir. I want to say to them that I am sorry for what I did. I know I can't bring back the life that I took from them, and I wish I could, but I am deeply sorry for what I did to them.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Is the panel ready to vote?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes, sir. Mr. Morris, I want to commend you for all the good things that you've done. Like you said, when you got sick and tired and you changed, and I just want to commend you for that. Job well done. Good luck to you in pursuing your high school diploma, your high set. Don't give up on that. You're never too old to learn. But due to what was your history of 2 escapes, and all law enforcement is opposed to your early release. Consistently, all of them are opposed. And we have victim opposition that's been expressed today. And in consideration of the proximity of your good time date, my vote is to deny today. But again, I commend you on your hard work. Keep it up. Because all it's going to do is help you get better suited. Because when you get out, you want to stay out. So take advantage of all the programs, take advantage of whatever's come across your way so that you can stay out when you get out. Best wishes to you, sir. But my vote is to deny today.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, Mr. Morris, sound like you have made the best out of a bad situation where you are. Want to commend you, like as Ms. Wise said, and I concur with Ms. Wise for the same reasons. My vote today would be to deny also.
Mr. Morris, I want to echo exactly what my two colleagues said. You should be commended. Those are very positive remarks by Warden Goodwin, and Warden Goodwin doesn't give those out unless they're earned. And I want to commend you on all the programs and everything, but based upon a extensive criminal history, history of violence, history of escapes, and law enforcement opposition, victim opposition, in the proximity of your good time date, I also vote to deny your request. You have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. You did good. You did good for your mama.
Well, I'm grateful that Miss Wise said that at the end and that the victims were at that point properly acknowledged, because the entire time it's like patting the man who took their mother's life on the back. Oh, you're doing great. Oh, you're doing great. And it's like, this guy, he's got a DOC number 95462 with 5 digits. We don't see a lot of 5-digit DOC numbers. He has been in prison in and out for, he might talk softly here at this interview, but he has got he is just a dangerous man. 2 escape attempts. You have the sexual assault. You have the taking of the life, where it's somehow manslaughter, which is no shock. And the record just goes on and on. And oh man, it's, he is out now, and he's stayed out so far. This hearing took place in 2021, and the documents that I have shows that he is as of September still out, tier 3 offender, and he was released on 12/10/2021. So he's actually doing a couple years, so he's doing okay. But I what can you do? What can you say? I don't really know. There's no other information on his crimes. It's, everything he's done is probably plea deals. He doesn't have any appeals. But it's like, over the course of a life, to just leave a trail of victims, and the system to then take a chance and say, yeah, it's the tough. Do you say, hey, do you keep someone locked up forever? No, you can't do that. But in certain, let's put it this way, I'm happy I am not on the, they denied him. He was just getting out anyways, and it was a good time date. But what's frustrating for me is, again, how we have so many people who have long lifelong sentences because they have possession with intent to distribute, or they get a 50-year sentence because they rob a bank, right? There are certain crimes where the legislation just doesn't just view certain crimes one way, and other crimes they just don't seem to care. And it's the strangest thing. I'll tell you. The more and more that these watch, the less and less it makes sense.